kuchoni langa zakubuin komo ndakutinga ngawe la kuchoni langa Yakuvelinanga Peshe yako lwandle Zakubuintaka La kuchoni langa.
This wasn't on my radar. I wasn't tracking Burundi, wasn't watching its president, wasn't following youth groups in the back hills of East Africa, wasn't looking for fires until I found smoke. So I began with a headline, buried in a UN report. A single phrase jumped off the screen like a whispered confession. In Bonarcure, youth execute suspected witches. Witches? Not a drug bust, not an arms deal, not a protest, but witches? And I thought, who kills witches in 2025? So I dug. Found the youth group. They're called the Imbonerakure. That means those who see far. They're the youth wing of Burundi's ruling party, the CNDD-FDD. Want me to say that again? Loyal, military-style discipline, patriotic, grounded. Western media calls them paramilitary. I found videos of them singing in the streets, fixing roads, carrying elderly villagers on their backs. They weren't looting, they weren't burning, they were building. So why were they killing? Then I looked to the top. Burundi's president is a guy named Evariste Ndayishimiye, a Protestant evangelical Christian. He doesn't hide it. He preaches, literally. Talks about a national reformation, a revival, a moral rebuilding of the nation. He's not just talking infrastructure. He's talking spiritual rebirth. He's not pushing pronouns. He's pushing repentance. And for some reason, that just happened to land him in the hotspot of public enemy number one. So that's when it clicked. The youth weren't random. The president wasn't a rogue. This wasn't politics. This is doctrine. So I dusted off and pulled out the old books. Europe in the 1400s, the 1700s. They didn't just jail witches. They executed them. Burned them, drowned them, hanged them. Why? Because sorcery at the time was seen as transcending murder. It wasn't just a crime against the body. It was a crime against the soul, against the entire spiritual structure of society. Back then, witchcraft meant corruption of the eternal. It was capital. But today, the West gives parades to witches, invites them into schools, turns them into influencers. Burundi didn't forget, and they acted. Was it brutal? Kinda. But it told me this. They still draw lines. Lines that we erased. Lines the West forgot even existed, and that's when I saw it. Because right around the time this happened, George Soros in his black suit and cool glasses showed up. Not in person, in money. Through the Open Society Foundations, he started pumping funds into Burundi like catnip, into activist orcs, opposition media, civil society groups, on paper, human rights. In reality, ideological warfare. He wasn't afraid of violence. He wasn't afraid of injustice. He was afraid of a Christian country drawing spiritual boundaries. That's when I realized Burundi isn't the case. Burundi is a crime scene. Not because of what they're doing wrong, but because of what they're doing right. That this nation is building something bigger than democracy. They're building conviction. They're elevating occultism as the greatest threat, not carbon emissions. They're training young men, not coding genderless AI. They're executing sorcerers, not Christian fathers. And if that spreads, if this fire catches, it won't be just perhaps Africa waking up as an archetype. It'll be us. So I asked in the beginning, who kills witches in 2025? The answer is a nation that still believes that evil is real. A nation that still sees the invisible. A nation that is surrounded by animism and knows that spiritual forces still exist. A nation that doesn't try to medicate and psychologize what is actually spiritual demonization. A nation that remembers what it means to fear God more than man. Burundi isn't barbaric. It's simply awake. And for the Soros machine, the UN elite, and the secular West, that's the scariest spell of all. This is Chase Parrish Space.